It's October. Around this time, people are going to be planning on doing their video reviews, articles, and podcasts on horror movies, TV shows, and video games in honor of the holiday Halloween. However, we're going to be partaking in a different occasion. The 15th anniversary of As Told by Ginger. As Told by Ginger, created by Emily Kapnick, is in my opinion the most underrated Nicktoon ever made. It did a lot for Nickelodeon that people don't really give the respect and credit it deserves. Oh, the show is hideous looking. Oh, the show is not funny. Oh, the show is way too serious. Oh, the show is so depressing. Oh, the characters are super cliche. I get it. The show is not for everyone. I'm not here to change your mind if you don't really care about it. I'm here to share my love for this show and discuss on why I love it so much more. Who knows? Maybe you'll even consider taking a closer look and discovering something about it you didn't know about. So for the entire month of October, I'm going to be doing my very first theme month of videos, discussing about As Told by Ginger. Ordinarily, you would probably expect some sort of review of the show from me. Well, I'm not going to do that. Today I'm going to be doing something completely new. I'm going to be taking a look at the original pilot of As Told by Ginger from 1998 and comparing it to the eventual TV show that debuted in 2000, discussing about the similarities and changes that occurred. If you're wondering, yes, I'm completely stealing this concept from Derek Alexander's Getting Super Nerdy series, where he would review a video game demo and compare it to the complete product.
I don't know if anything different happens if you don't save the dog, because why wouldn't you save the dog? Save that dog!
So with introductions out of the way, let's get started on what I like to call from pilot to final product. The pilot, titled The Party, opens with Ginger Foutley giving an introduction on her friends, her family, and her school life.
Hi, I'm Ginger Foutley. Every single thing that happens to me gets recorded in my journal. I've been doing that ever since I, learned how to write. These are my two best friends. Jody keeps me updated on all the latest school gossip. And Macy keeps me updated on all the latest school health risks. That's my little brother Carl. He's a total freak. Mom! He's in my room!
Kids, stay away from each other. Stop playing with each other.
My mom. You know, she keeps telling me that these are the best years of my life. And I'm thinking, who is she kidding?
Right off the bat, I have to say that the animation is beyond atrocious. The biggest complaint of As Told by Ginger that I hear from many people is how ugly the animation is. Even I stated this myself on my top 10 Nicktoons that need comic book adaptations list. The drawing should be slightly redone to make it less, ugly. As much as I'm a huge fan of As Told by Ginger, even I can admit that the animation is really off. Definitely the worst in Nickelodeon's Klasky Csupo lineup. Well, the animation on the TV show are considered a godsend compared to the pilot, because yeesh, it's almost unwatchable. It is that bad. Okay. Major complaint aside, we hear that Ginger is voiced by Melissa Disney, the same voice actress who would later voice her in the TV show. The first episode of As Told by Ginger features the opening theme song, I'm in Between. However, in episode 1, it's actually performed by Melissa Disney.
Someone once told me the grass is much greener on the other side. Hey guys. Well, I paid a visit. Well, it's possible I missed it. It seemed different. Exactly the same, yeah.
Later on throughout the series, it would be performed by Macy Gray. We then cut to the lunchroom where a food fight is occurring, and Dodie is listing activities for their upcoming slumber party.
Customary Sloppy Jane burritos will perform our song, and then collapse for a midnight screening of The Little Seal Girl.
The Sloppy Jane, which is a female version of the Sloppy Joe, is even mentioned as one of the activities Dodie, Ginger, and Macy bring up when planning their visit to Ginger's house in the first episode, Ginger the Juvie.
I'm thinking a quick snack, maybe something in the way of a Sloppy Jane. Light on the slop, extra Jane.
We're going to be referencing the first episode quite a bit, so get comfortable. The mention of the Little Seal Girl is brought up again as a song that Macy dances to for a talent show in the episode Come Back Little Seal Girl. Yeah, nothing really much to say about Dodie and Macy. Their appearance looks pretty similar to what it would be in the final show, with Dodie being voiced by Aspen Miller and Macy Lightfoot being voiced by Jackie Harris. Meanwhile, we get our first appearance of the popular girl Courtney Grippling. She hands Ginger an invitation to a boy-girl party. Her best friend Miranda questions on why she invited Ginger, especially since she's not one of the popular girls. Courtney answers her by saying,
Let's just see what she's made of, Miranda. Besides, they won't bite you.
Courtney here is sporting longer hair and shorter ears with earrings compared to the TV series in which her hair is shorter, her ears are bigger, and she has no earrings. However, out of all the characters that were featured on the show, Miranda went through one of the biggest changes. In the pilot, she's portrayed as a white girl with brown hair. In the TV series, she's portrayed as an African-American girl sporting earrings. However, in both the pilot and TV series, Courtney and Miranda are voiced by Liz Georges and Cree Summer, respectively. Going back to the first episode, the explanation on Courtney's decision of inviting Ginger to her party, in the first episode's case, a birthday party, is better explained. She finds Ginger fascinating. She acts like none of the other girls that she's friends with, and the girls that Courtney is friends with happen to be all popular, pretty, and sporting the latest fashion. Since Courtney is rich, the simple concept of things like friends doing manicures and pedicures together and learning about what frontsies is interests her. She treats Ginger like a close acquaintance, and later on throughout the series, a friend. The curiosity continues throughout the rest of the series. Meanwhile, back at home, Ginger couldn't believe that she was invited to Courtney's party. This is where we get our first introduction to Darren Patterson, Ginger's neighbor and best friend. Despite looking somewhat similar to what he would appear in the series, there are two noticeable things that are featured only on the pilot. One, he's voiced by Bradley Pierce.
I heard about this one girl who got invited to one of Courtney's parties and didn't go. She was mysteriously transferred to another school. At night, her locker untouched.
In the TV series, Darren would be voiced by Kenny Blank.
Well, you could give Courtney an IOU until you think of something good.
Second, his headgear squeaks every time he talks.
Whoa, that's major. My brother's gonna be there. 10 more months to removal. Unless there's another gum infection. Don't eat dip. You're so annoying, get out of my room.
This gets grating immediately. You almost pray that he doesn't talk whenever he shows up, because the squeaking is so annoying and it's constant. Thank goodness that they took the squeaking away in the TV series. Similar to the TV show, Ginger talks to Darren about her feelings and her concerns. In the pilot's case, she talks to Darren about how she's going to interact with the cool kids, especially with Dodie and Macy not being in her side. In the TV show, while Ginger wants to be portrayed as cool in front of Courtney and her friends, she still has enough confidence to showcase on who she is without being afraid of it. However, she does get much more confident in the later seasons, and she eventually doesn't even care about wanting to be popular. In the pilot, it feels like she needs Dodie and Macy as her backup. Otherwise, she feels like she's nothing. This becomes one of the major conflicts in the pilot, and it's vastly different from what the first episode is. Ginger's main conflict is brought up when Miranda shows up and talks to Ginger about getting a nice gift for Courtney's birthday. Later on, Miranda gives Ginger the suggestion of stealing the Enter sign from a bank to have outside Courtney's bedroom as a decoration. Our second conflict in the pilot comes from her little brother, Carl, when Lois, her mother, tells Ginger that she should bring him along to the party. Lois will be leaving for another night shift, and she couldn't find a babysitter without a file restraint to watch over him. In the TV series, Lois would never include Carl to any of Ginger's activities. Plus, for the most part, throughout the TV show, he would most likely be hanging out with Hoodsy. Meanwhile, outside of Courtney's house, Carl agrees to wait outside while Ginger enjoys the party, but for a price.
Your toenail clippings for 3 weeks. Ugh, that is so gross. Deal? Deal. But no eating them in front of me this time.
In the first episode, he asked for something completely different.
Your curling iron.
What for?
Classified.
Although they do give a quick nod about the toenail exchange in the first episode.
I know you can't resist the smell of freshly clipped toenails, Carl, but we're busy.
While this particular exchange doesn't really play into the plot of the first episode, it does showcase on Carl's blackmailing schemes, especially since this is one of the major plot points that occurs alongside Ginger's eventual commitment of stealing the bank's enter sign. Back to the pilot. Carl doesn't last for more than 2 seconds before Ginger drags Carl into the backyard and ties him with a hose to prevent him from escaping. This is one of the most jarring things I've ever seen in this pilot. Even though that Ginger and Carl have little to nothing in common and are as different as night and day, Ginger would never stoop this low to treating him like this. Even when Carl acts completely out of control, she still defends him and continues to love him. A great example on this is featured in the episode Lunatic Lake.
Joanne, calm down. He could also be in the throes of salmonella thanks to his rotten little playmate.
That's not fair, Mrs. Bishop.
Oh, don't tell me rudeness runs in your family, too.
I'm not being rude.
Ginger, don't. She's not sleeping on her regular pillow.
I don't care. I know Carl can be a weirdo, Mrs. Bishop, but he's not rotten. He really does have a good side. You just have to give him a chance.
The third and final conflict in the pilot comes in the form of the cute and popular boy Ian Richton. In both the pilot and TV show, Ginger has a huge crush on Ian. Ian doesn't speak in the pilot, but in the TV show, he's voiced by Adam Wiley, and he debuted in the episode The A-Ticket. Courtney suggests playing a game of spin the bottle, with Ginger spinning first. Ginger hesitates at first, but eventually spins, and it just so happens to be pointing at Ian. We then cut to Dodie's house, and
Pony girls are hot. We live on a yacht and go trot, trot, trot.
What?
Pony solo.
You toss our hair, just like a bead. Pretty cool blow dryer. It's all the same.
What is going on? I got nothing. Meanwhile, Carl grabs his walkie-talkie and contacts his best friend Hoodsy to head over to Courtney's house and untie him. In a scene preceding this, Carl finds out that the siblings of the other partygoers have also been tied up. Wow. Let's wrap things up, shall we? As Ian and Ginger draw each other closer for their kiss, it's interrupted by the younger siblings crashing the party. But not without Ian giving a kiss on Ginger's cheek. Aw, that's sweet. We even get a quick cameo from Courtney's little brother, Blake. There are 2 things to note about Blake in the pilot. 1, Blake is voiced by Tara Strong. In the TV show, he's voiced by Kath Soucie. Second is this line. This line would be a reference to a scene in the episode The Right Stuff, where Courtney stuffs bubble wrap on her bra alongside with her 2-piece bathing suit at a pool party. Speaking of Blake, he plays a much bigger role in the first episode. It involves with finding a way to hanging out with Carl, as well as finding a way of obtaining Carl's prized possession, the petrified eyeball. There's even a scene that plays similar to Carl's predicament in the pilot. Blake visits Carl's doghouse thinking that he, Carl, and Hoodsy will be having a playdate, only to be caught in a trap. He gets his revenge in the end when he contacts the family butler Winston and ends up stealing the petrified eyeball. The pilot concludes with Ginger being relieved that Carl and the other younger siblings disrupted the party before things turn out to be more awkward for her. Going back to the first episode, Carl and Hoodsy used Blake's treehouse to take pictures of people at Courtney's party to blackmail them later on. One of the pictures he takes is of Miranda calling her father, a police officer, to arrest Ginger from stealing the sign. Ginger finds out, thanks to Carl, of Miranda's scheme to get Ginger into trouble and preventing her from going to the party. The episode concludes with Ginger learning a valuable lesson about peer pressure and how she should have known from the beginning that her actions of stealing the sign were wrong. Because of that incident, she was grounded and has to partake in community service leading up to episode 2, Carl and Maude. So as you can see, when comparing the first episode to the pilot, they ironed out a lot of flaws and added in some things to make it a really good watch. Instead of just focusing on Ginger, they split it into 2 with focusing on both Ginger and Carl's perspectives. It's very similar to the Adventures of Pete and Pete, in which we get Little Pete's and Big Pete's perspective of showcasing the life of a kid and a teenager. Kids could watch the gross and conniving views of Carl, which were the comedic parts of the show, while teens can watch the struggles and triumphs of Ginger, which were the dramatic parts of the show. They kept in most of the voice actors from the pilot to keep things consistent. They gave the characters more development, and a purpose of being there as opposed to just moving the plot forward. Also, to reiterate one more time, they got rid of the horrendous animation. Emily Kapnick and her team did a great job using those 2 years making adjustments and tweaks to craft one of the best first episodes of Nickelodeon history. I hope that you enjoyed this episode of From Pilot to Final Product. Maybe sometime in the future we'll do another episode, but only time will tell. But for now, if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Tune in next time as we continue As Told by Ginger Month with another video discussing about the show. Thanks for watching.
Ooh, she's so ugly. Oh yeah, she's an ugly girl. Ooh, she's so ugly. Oh yeah, she's an ugly girl. Na 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 na. Ooh oh, ooh oh, ooh oh. Na 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 na. Ooh oh, ooh oh, ooh oh. 星期六我去逛街，逛来逛去看到一位小姐，一头乌溜溜的长头发，她一转过来，Oh my god， 她的脖子有点歪歪的，她的眼神也是怪怪的，我突然有点想要跑，因为她已经开口对我笑。Ooh, she's so ugly. Oh yeah, she's an ugly girl. Ooh, she's so ugly. Oh yeah, she's an ugly girl. Na 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 na. Ooh oh, ooh oh, ooh oh. Na 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 na. Ooh oh, ooh oh, ooh oh. Ooh, she's so ugly. Oh yeah, she's an ugly girl. Ooh, she's so ugly. Oh yeah, she's an ugly girl. Ooh, she's so ugly. Oh yeah, she's an ugly girl. Ooh, she's so ugly.